Coronation Street's troublesome Imran Habeeb doesn't yet realize he has some information that could make Faye Windass' life a living misery, but as he comes closer to connecting the dots, the ITV soap favorite could be silenced for good. Imran, played by Charlie D'Amelio, has been focusing on his relationship with Toya Battersby, Georgia Taylor, in recent weeks on Coronation Street after he had a one-night stand behind her back last year. Therefore, he hasn't given much attention to the crime he was a witness to at the beginning of last month when Faye, Ellie Leach, and Emma Brooker, Alexandra Mardell, returned to the cobbles from a New Year's Eve party. A police investigation has now been launched into the death they were a part of on the ITV soap, and in upcoming scenes, the lawyer may well be questioned about any suspicious behavior he has seen recently. As he thinks back to the conversation with the two young women, his days may well be numbered as he threatens to send Faye back to prison. Viewers know the pair are responsible for running down a pensioner on New Year's Day, and although he was all right to begin with, they later discovered he had died. Before they knew the fate of the old man, they returned to the cobbles in high spirits and still a bit drunk from the night before. Emma bumped into Imran and told him all about the party she went to. The girls almost let slip Emma had been supervising trainee driver Faye the morning after she let her hair down, and he told them they could be in serious trouble. He explained if this scenario did play out and something terrible had happened, Emma would be in just as much trouble as her young learner driver. News of the pensioner's death has swept through Weatherfield, and yet, Imran has still not put the pieces of the jigsaw together as he begins working on the case, having been hired by the family of the deceased to see if they have enough information to allow the police investigation to continue. He could start to realize this sounds very familiar. Going back to the conversation he had with Faye and Emma earlier this year, the lawyer could have his suspicions they know something about the death. He could confront the young women and ask them to be honest with him about what happened on the morning of New Year's Day. Although Faye might hold it together, Emma has become very tentative about the subject and could give Imran everything on a plate. The youngsters would plead with him to keep their secret, but being a man of the law, he could tell them he is going to report them. Not willing to go back to jail so soon after being released, Faye could begin to plan how she could silence the lawyer. Back in 2020, she demonstrated she is capable of killing someone after she committed grievous bodily harm against Adam Barlow, Sam Robertson. The youngster was intending to harm Ray Crosby, Mark Frost, after he sexually assaulted her, but she made a big mistake by hitting Imran's colleague round the head instead. It could be a double whammy for Faye, as she convinces herself getting rid of the other lawyer on the cobbles would help her maintain her freedom. As she goes to desperate lengths to keep her deadly secret harbored, will anyone realize she killed Imran? Speaking to Express.co.uk and other media ahead of the storyline beginning in January, executive producer Ian MacLeod teased Imran's involvement in the deadly plot. The soap boss explained a little bit about the unintentional death as he said, "They take the pensioner home, they've made him comfortable and he's fine. When you watch it, I think what you'll feel is that all of the decisions they make are totally in keeping with the decisions that you or I might make. But unfortunately, when you add them all up, it just turns into a total nightmare," he continued, before discussing the lawyer's involvement. Suddenly, when things take a turn for the worse, they realize there is already a number of witnesses like Imran, who can actually incriminate them. It's an interesting story because it's a case of waking up in the morning and everything looks normal, but then by the time the sun sets, your life is upside down and you're facing really serious legal ramifications potentially, he shared. Will an accidental death finally lead Faye to snap and allow her true darkness to take over as she becomes a killer who knows she is capable of murder? There hasn't been a serial killer on the cobbles since her brother, Gary Windass, Mikey North, found himself behind a number of deaths. Although he only committed one himself, his actions and behaviors led to the death of numerous beloved characters on the show. It could be his deadly senses which makes him realize something is not right about his sister and she is going down a dark path, having been responsible for Rana Habib's, Bhavna Limbasha, death. He could help to get rid of Imran's body if Faye confesses her sins to him. Gary would be shocked to learn his sister took down someone who was completely innocent, but he could understand her reasoning for doing so. He could make her promise she is not to kill anyone else again, and they will put Imran's death in the past where it belongs. But as people start asking a lot of uncomfortable questions, the youngster could be forced to take matters into her own hands once again.